Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nordic and Marc podcast. I am your host, Nordic, aka at Nordic97 everywhere. I'm joined with Marcus, aka at Marcusi_. How are you doing?
It was a good 4th of July. I stuffed myself with about like 50 hot dogs. Why not? I'm
um,
I'm too full from last night.
my 4th of July consisted of pretty much nothing. it was
Oh,
it was
come
a very
on.
boring 4th of July for me.
Boring?
Yeah, we were up in
Oh, come
Winslow,
on.
and then so I have some story. The night before we go up there, so it's like July 3rd. Okay, so we're going up there like the night before. It's like think it might have been like 9, 10, 9:30. So before you get to the campground, there's these long farm roads that you have to go down because we're in the
Oh,
country up in northern PA, and there's this school bus on the road. And let me get you some context because doesn't sound it doesn't sound out of normal. But A, it's Saturday. B, it's 9 p.m. C, it's summer. Like, and I don't understand. He's going slow as heck, and I got to hear my dad have some road rage, screaming, "Come on, move, let's go!" And he's like, "We're making good." And he's like, he was telling my stepmom, "We're like, we're making good time too. This is annoying." And then there was this one turn we had to go down, and we all had our fingers crossed. We're like, "Please don't turn, please don't turn." Turns his turn signal on. My dad's like, "Ah, damn it!" It was the funniest thing I've ever. It was one of the funniest experiences I've ever had. But
why? Why is there a school bus? And it's July 6th. There shouldn't be any school
exactly.
happening right now.
It was weird because like the guy looked like he was drunk. He was like swerving out of the lane, and my dad was like, "Well, maybe we could try and pass him." I'm like, Do you see like he's going into the other lane? Do you think we can successfully do that?" So that was my weekend. Complete madness.
Oh my God.
But I won't waste any more of your time. For the people who are listening, let's get into some hockey stuff.
True.
We're gonna start off with this because we never like seeing this. The hockey world lost someone big yesterday or a couple days ago. It was either July 4th or July 5th. Matiss Kivileniks passed away at 24 years old due to failed fireworks. I think he either got hit in the chest or he was running away from it and he bumped his head onto the ground. And
Hmm.
it's terrible because you know especially a guy like that young too. And he was one of those Columbus Blue Jackets players who was on the verge of making a big jump because we'll get into some more Columbus discussion, but we've been hearing reports that Merzlikins wants out. We've been hearing reports that Korpisalo might want out.
Oh my
And,
goodness.
Kivileniks might have been the next guy. And he looked good too. He looked very good. He had a shutout for Latvia against freaking Canada in the IIHF.
Who is
Canada.
that guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
That's
look,
crazy.
let me put that in some context. That is impressive as hell to shut down some of the best hockey players in the world because a lot of them come from Canada.
True.
That's hella impressive, and especially from being from a guy from Latvia.
Latvia.
Yeah, it's impressive, and just gone too soon. It's another one.
Well, God rest his soul. I said a prayer for him last night. Sorry for those who aren't like religious. I said a prayer for him last night. That hopefully he made it up there. But I mean, like it's sad to see a guy go. Especially like at such a young age. We hate seeing young guys go. We hate it. It
Yeah.
sucks. It hurts me. It hurts. I don't know what else to say, but it just hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Change the subject.
Yeah. So we'll move on now because that's just it's an emotional topic for all of us. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals
Yay! Happy.
last night.
Go.
Montreal Canadiens versus Tampa Lightning. The goals were scored by Josh Anderson, who had 2, Barclay Goodrow, Alexander Romanov, and Patrick Maroon. The fact that I know who scored the goals without even having to look at them is impressive.
Attaboy.
So it was an interesting one for me because I was on the way home from the campground last night. So I had to listen to half of it and watch the other half. And yeah, just like I said, I thought Montreal was going to win 1 at home. I said it in this podcast. And then Tampa was going to finish it in Tampa on Wednesday. So what do you think?
This was a very back and forth game, in my opinion. I saw a lot of Tampa and I saw a lot of Montreal. Both chances on both sides, but the goaltenders were playing really well. When
Mhm.
it got to overtime, though, Price was a wall. He did not let anything get through. They were not going down without a fight. And I mean, Josh Anderson put away. I was saying it was going to be Caulfield, but Caulfield got
I said it
the
was Corey
rebound.
Perry.
You said it was going to be Corey.
He
Oh my
scored in the
goodness,
last overtime back in
2019.
Game 5, 2020. So I was like, maybe he'll do it again. But Anderson's been hella impressive, and for a guy who got signed to a what, like $7 million contract,
He did.
or maybe it
That's a
was 7 years, 5 mil. He got signed to some ridiculous contract, and one of the most popular videos on my channel is criticizing that contract, and he made me look stupid for it. So,
well, he's making you look stupid now, but
oh
this
yeah,
is. I mean, can I just say, do we really think that do we really think this series is gonna go in Montreal's favor?
oh, I don't think so.
Do we
I
really
think
think they're gonna go
Tampa.
back to the Amalie Arena and pull out a Game 6 win and then go back to Montreal and do it again? I do not think so.
Yeah, they
I
have.
don't go.
Vasilevsky will have to get injured for that to happen, because the most notable thing is Vasilevsky, and outside of these past two games, and not even the past two games, just this one game, Game 4, he's been a freaking brick wall. He hasn't let anything through, and if he has, it wasn't much. The thing is, you need to have high goal scoring to beat this Tampa team, and Montreal needs to win by scoring almost little to no goals, because they can't get anything past Vasilevsky. It's unbelievable.
He's locking up everything. I don't know how else to describe his goaltending. Like, I don't know what stats I need to show you. We all see it. If you're watching the game, you know that he's just locking up everything. Here's some stats for you. The Canadians had 21 shots on goal compared to the Lightning 34. The Lightning were the ones. It's always the team who loses that has the most shots, and that's what bothers me, because it kind of shows like who was really pounding the other team.
Yeah.
But I mean, this shows Price stood on his head last night.
And the thing is, like, you say shots do matter, and I guess they do, but all it takes is one.
Yeah, it takes the
All it
quality
takes
of the
is one shot to change the entire game. And that's how it was. And then we got to go back to this as well, with I think about a minute left, or a little bit more than a minute left. Shea Weber gets a double minor for high sticking Palat. And I thought to myself, I'm like,
it's over.
I'm like, yeah, Montreal's penalty kill is crazy, and it's been insane the past couple of the entire playoffs, but I don't know if you can hold it off for 4 minutes. And if they score one goal, it's over.
See, because here's the thing. Tampa was 0 for 4 on the power play before they came into the situation. And with the amount of time they had left, with Montreal only having 4 guys on the ice, I was thinking, like, if they hadn't succeeded with these power plays previously in the game, they probably will not stand on their head and get the job done, because that's embarrassing for you. You went 0 for 5 on the power play.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously? Like, really? What is wrong with you? You are the greatest offensive team the world has had to witness, and you're going 0 for 5 on the power play. Get it together. Like, this was the game where you were supposed to close it out. The NHL was literally dying for you guys to win. Is this the night that Andrei Vasilevsky wins the Conn Smythe Trophy? I saw it all over the media, all over the TikToks and everything. The NHL is, how do I make this PG? They were like cowering to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And they were like, oh my God, is this the night the Tampa Bay Lightning do it? No, it wasn't. You went 0 for 5 in the power play. You had 34 shots. You pounded them with the hits. But, like, what are you doing? 0 for 5 in the power play. That is embarrassing for an offensive team like them.
Oh, especially. And it's unacceptable when you have guys like Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, Steven Stamkos, and then you got Hedman, Sergachev, Savard, Ruda on the blue line. Like, this is an incredibly stacked team in every single aspect. And the fact that they can't even get one on the power play is ridiculous.
We're moving on.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right.
So, we'll get into some headlines now. We kind of didn't really have too much planned for this podcast. We'll talk about some rumors and some headlines, and then we'll call it a day because
Cool.
kind of been uneventful. Wayne Simmons re-signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs since our last podcast. 2 years, $900K value. Good bottom six forward as we discussed. And here's a rumor. Since Marcus was interested in rumors, we'll touch base with this one a little bit. And we already talked about it because we already made episode 5 and then decided to screw us. St. Louis is reportedly exploring trade options for Vladimir Tarasenko. He has a full no-trade clause and gave St. Louis several teams he would like to go to. Now, I've seen some of them since our last episode. There's been some teams that could be rumored to be that team. I've heard Carolina. I think I might have heard New York Islanders. I might have heard the Boston Bruins as well.
I've heard Boston and Philly. So.
Yeah, Boston and Philly maybe. I don't want to see him in Philly though. No way.
Really?
Look, maybe 2 years ago, Tarasenko, if he was in his prime, but just now, I just don't know.
I get that. I mean, you never know with Tarasenko, and I will break off into the Tarasenko talk. If he could stay healthy, because his shoulders, like, you know what I'm saying? He's had 3 shoulder surgeries. He's had 3 shoulder surgeries. So anybody who wants to take him can take him. But one, you're making a big risk. That is a hefty contract to hold. $7.5 million. He's got 2 years left on it. If you're taking him, you better hope that shoulder doesn't, you know what I'm saying? You better hope he feels all right, because now you're paying a guy. Well, Tarasenko, when he's on the ice, he is an awesome player. Don't get me wrong. But you don't want him. You don't want him on the injured reserve. You're paying a guy $7.5 million to sit. Okay, so it's a risk to take him, and you have to understand that as GMs. So that's just what I'm saying. He can go anywhere, but I mean, I said even Boston could take him, Philly could take him, and he could help with the offense. But I mean, my destiny says that if the Bruins could take him, they could if they want to. But if he's injured, then I would not want him. It's just I need to know how this feels. Is this okay, bro? Because you might as well make it metal in here, for Christ's sake. Come on.
It's just really risky for a team to take a chance on him, and especially the Blues GM is going to look at his injury and he's going to look at his 50 goal seasons previous and say, well, when healthy, Tarasenko is a great forward. And I don't disagree with that. I think he is. I think if he can get healthy, he's probably one of the best forwards in the NHL.
Absolutely.
And I'm confident in saying that. But just if he gets injured for a long time. And it's interesting what they're going to do. Anyways, we move on. And the NHL announced their ESPN roster. No one really of note in play-by-play that no one really knows. Brian Boucher, Ryan Callahan, Cassie Campbell, Chris Chelios, Rick DiPietro, Ray Ferraro, Hillary Knight, my girlfriend, Mark Messier, and Kevin Weeks. Those are the notable guys in the analyst department. Reporters, there's Greg Wyszynski, and in the Deports team, there's really no one of note there. It's good, obviously. You want to grow the game, and I think ESPN really is going to grow the game, and we've discussed it so many times in earlier podcasts. You know, I just think that they're gonna grow the game that way. So, the Buffalo Sabres hired Don Granato. Well, they didn't hire him; they extended him from his interim head coach deal. I thought he was good for the Sabres for the very little bit of time that he was there after Ralph Kruger was fired. We'll see what he does with this dumpster fire of a Buffalo Sabres team. And I talked about this in earlier podcasts too, when we talked about the Bruins and the Avalanche. Jonas Johansson has re-signed with the Colorado Avalanche for a 1-year, $750K, 2-way contract. I talk about it's good having a young guy in there, and I think that signing this guy to a 1-year deal I think that'll work out in their favor. Here's a big one. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins re-signed with the Edmonton Oilers for an 8-year, $5.125 million contract.
We are so late.
Hopkins will be, yeah, I know we're late as hell with this, but Nugent-Hopkins will be with the Edmonton Oilers until after I'm done high school. And I think after I'm done my first year of college, if I'm correct, he will be with the Edmonton Oilers still. Yeah. Just, I don't even know.
Oh, God.
The Panthers hired Tuomo Ruutu as their assistant coach, was previously at New York Rangers player development. See how that works out. And now we got awards. We made a podcast previously discussing the rewards, and then
never posted.
It never posted, so it's now irrelevant. Kirill Kaprizov won the Calder Trophy as expected. I think Marcus expected that as well.
I'm just gonna give you thumbs up and thumbs down.
Okay. Connor McDavid won the Ted Lindsay Award, so another 97. Marc-Andre Fleury won the Vezina Trophy. There was a lot of criticism saying, like, oh, Fleury shouldn't have. Just, they gave it to Fleury because he's old as hell. No, he's a 36-year-old putting up a freaking 1.98 goals against average. That's freaking good. Adam Fox won the Norris Trophy. I think I'd say it's pretty accurate for the finalists. Chikrin was robbed. Connor McDavid won the Hart Trophy as the most valuable player to his team. I think he's. There's no discussion. Then you have the first All-Star team. This might be a discussion. The first All-Star team is Andrei Vasilevsky, Adam Fox, Cale Makar, Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner, and Brad Marchand. The second All-Star team is Marc-Andre Fleury, Victor Hedman, Dougie Hamilton, Austin Matthews, Mikko Rantanen, and Jonathan Huberdeau. So I don't know why Marner's on the first team because he's.
I had a whole rant about this, and I just wanted to see it.
I know.
I just want to see it back. People just know I wasn't okay with it. That's it.
Yeah, he was not okay with it. Your all-rookie team consists of goaltender Alexander Nedeljkovic, K'Andre Miller, Ty Smith, Kirill Kaprizov, Josh Norris, and Jason Robertson. All I have to say about that is, where's Yegor Sharangovich? That's it for the rewards. The Blue Jackets hired San Diego Gulls assistant Sylvain Lafreniere as assistant coach. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, and this too. Jonathan Toews came out as the captain of the Chicago Blackhawks, saying he had a chronic immune response syndrome. He's back to skating and plans to return next season. So you'll love to hear that.
Ooh, yes, sir.
The syndrome was like, it just felt like you couldn't do anything. Like your body was kind of just shut down.
Oh.
And it was all kind of like a stress response from what Toews said. He's just said he's just excited to get back to United Center and play, which, I mean, hey, I love to see him on the ice. He's a great captain.
That's we're happy.
Yeah. The Red Wings hired Alex Tanguay as assistant head coach. He was previously with the Iowa Wild of the American Hockey League. Here's some rumors. Since Marcus,
let's get into them.
There are, via Elliot Freeman, there are rumblings Chicago is working on a potential Duncan Keith trade to either the Pacific Northwest or Western Canada. I've heard the Calgary Flames are not in on that, by the way. Word is Keith and the team is working together to get him to a place he wants to go. We will see where this goes. And I've also heard, by the way, before we get into some of this, Seth Jones is interested with Chicago as well. So.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and it makes sense because you see Duncan Keith leaving. You may want to bring Seth Jones in.
Ooh.
About it.
Oh, yeah, but they said Pacific Northwest. And where does Duncan Keith want to go is the question.
The only places that are over there is Edmonton, I guess Winnipeg. I don't know about Winnipeg. That might be Central. Vancouver, and I guess Seattle. Those are really the only teams that are out there that you can necessarily go. If you could get me a cap hit, I'll just look it up myself. And we'll get statistics for Duncan Keith real quick.
See, here's the thing about Keith.
He's getting paid interesting. He's getting paid a good amount, though. I know that. Yeah, 5.
Yeah, because
5.
What was $5 million?
Yeah, 5.5 million until 2023-24.
Wow. Well, I mean, people say basically a down year. Well, obviously, like he's getting older, but
He's
I mean,
nowhere near
I want to see him.
the Duncan Keith he used to be.
Yeah, obviously. But if we're talking experience wise, there's still aspects that Duncan Keith could be useful to. And I mean, if I think the best scenario to go to is
Veteran
probably
presence,
well,
leadership. I
yeah,
say he's good in veteran presence and leadership. Just throw that in there.
true, because he's hoisted the damn cup.
Yeah.
So anybody would take anybody would take him for that leadership. I would see him as an Oiler. I could see him wearing a jersey in Edmonton, and it kind of feels like destiny to fall upon because I mean, like Edmonton could use a damn defenseman with the free agents they have.
Yeah, that could make sense because I've heard reports that Tyson Barrie is a one and done with the Edmonton Oilers. So it could make sense to see Keith go there. He has the experience, and seeing the Oilers get swept by the Jets in the playoffs and see them lose to, ironically, the Blackhawks in the last year playing round, we could see it. So you never know. You never know. We'll see what happens there. We have moved on to
Seth Jones.
One of my favorite. Oh, we haven't. It hasn't been announced yet. We'll talk about Seth Jones in a little bit, but we have a trade. First trade in Nordic and Marc podcast history that we have covered. Victor Arvidsson has been traded to the Los Angeles Kings for a 2021 second round pick and a 2022 third round pick. I think this is a win-win.
You could call it a win-win, but if I'm really looking at this, I mean,
I think it's a win for LA because I think Victor Arvidsson can score the goals and he's going to bounce back. I think
he's a solid good role player. But here's what Nashville did that pissed me off. The one thing they did that nobody else none of the players wanted it. For your star Forsberg gave a thumbs down on Instagram. A freaking thumbs down. Everyone's mad about it. You just kind of listen. Good job by LA. You gave up picks. You could care less. You're on the rise. But Arvidsson's a great player for LA. But you just good luck, Nashville. Does this mean this ruins your team chemistry with like management? Just like, damn, we lost Victor. Damn, that sucks. Does this mean that Nashville's blowing it up?
That could be. That could very well be where they go.
Because look at it this way. There are rumors that Ekholm's going out. I've seen some that Yossi wants to go. And I mean, like, they just want to hit the reset button. It's not been out there, but is this the beginning of the fire sale off season for the Predators? Are we looking at that, Evan?
I said one thing I said when I saw the Forsberg thumbs down thing. I was like, David Poile, the GM of the Nashville Predators, just made every single Nashville Predator want to go to Los Angeles. So, so I do think that, honestly. I think that they might be blowing things up. Now, they're in a confusing thing because they have young guys, and they have plenty of young guys. They have Eli Tolvanen, who really took a step up. They have Dante Fabra, who's pretty young. They have Hussein Saros in net.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go look at their cap friendly thing, mention some more in a second, but they have some young players. Just the problem is they have guys like Matt Duchene and who's another guy? Ryan Johansson and almost said PK Subban. You have a lot of old guys in there that you might want to consider moving out. And I definitely think that their blue line is going to cause some questions because I've seen there's the potential of Matiss Ekholm moving his way out of there again is possible. Really? And I've heard Ryan Ellis rumors as well. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
I just think because, like, if you're moving Arvidsson out just like that's out of the blue. He's decent for you. He's a good role player for you guys. I don't know. Like, I didn't know why they were doing that. There's only, and I'm just spitting here, there's only one possible reason that the Predators could be doing this. They're on fire sale mode, and they want to get rid of players. I think they want to hit the reset button. Because, I mean, like, Saros is an RFA. I mean, he's 26, and, like, for Christ's sakes, he's 11th in Hart voting. he's valuable to you guys.
Yeah.
For sure. We thought you guys were going to get swept by the Hurricanes. Nope. You look at, I mean, like, do you think they're going to bring back Brad Richardson at 36? I think they're letting him walk.
Well, Brad Richardson, he was a former Arizona Coyote. He scored a goal against the Predators, ironically, to put the Coyotes in the playoffs, where we just got raped by Colorado. But yeah, no, I don't think they move on. I don't think they sign him. Mikael Granlund could be finding his way out. Eric Holla probably. And then you got guys like Eli Tolvanen and Matthew Oliver, who are RFAs, who could cause some questions. And then you got Hussein Saros, who is also an RFA. So
sign him to like an 8-year deal. You want to lock that guy up.
I see why they're moving these guys out, though. They're moving guys like Arvidsson, because Arvidsson has a $4 million cap hit. And let me look at their cap space right now.
22 mil.
22 million. So they obviously want to have room to sign guys like Tolvanen and Ben Harper, Dante Fabro, who's also an RFA, and Saros, of course, because, you know, we obviously know that Pekarine's on his way out, or Pekarine's pretty much done. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see, honestly. I don't know. What, any final thoughts on that?
Now let's move on.
All right. Andre Tourigny has become the new Arizona Coyotes head coach for the next 3 years. This made me very happy because of an Arizona Coyotes fan. This man has a history with a lot of young players. A lot of young players. He's won Coach of the Year in the OHL, Ontario Hockey League. He's had many 50-win seasons with some teams in the Ontario Hockey League. I don't know what just happened to me. And with an Arizona Coyotes team that's very young, I'm excited to see where they go. And then they also hired former Colorado Director of Amateur Scouting, Alan Hepel, as their new Director of Pro Scouting. Now, that doesn't sound like a big deal. But let me tell you what team he was the Director of Scouting for. The Colorado Avalanche.
Who
have drafted what? Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon. They've drafted Bowen Byram. This could be a step in the turnound for the Arizona Coyotes organization.
That's the dude who recognizes talent right there.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I'm really excited for it.
W's. Anything else about the Coyotes for you?
No, I'm good. Are you?
Because I don't know anything.
Yeah, it's all good. All right. Joel Eriksson Ek has re-signed with the Minnesota Wild for an 8-year, $5.25 million average annual value. So he's up there with Nugent Hopkins. You know, these guys are going to be chilling, you know, vibing together while I graduate high school and college and find a girlfriend to break up with and then live my life on a cruise boat in Jamaica. Yeah, anyways, I think it's a good signing. The term might be a little bit long. I think 5.25 is fitting for a guy like him. But I just feel like the term might be a little bit too long for him.
Seriously. I mean, like, well, we all know Eriksson.
He's a good two-way center.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He finished fourth in Selke voting too, by the way.
What was it? 8 years, 5 million years?
5 million years. 8 years, 5.25.
Listen, it's like, give me a break. So I think obviously, yes, you want to lock up a great two-way forward like him. I mean, this is good for the Wild. You still got 15 mil in cap space. You locked up one of your young guys who you want to keep around. Now you got to worry about Kaprizov.
Oh yeah.
Now you have to worry about Kaprizov. I'm pretty sure we discussed this already, but you have to worry about Kirill, man. I don't know what they're gonna do with them, but I mean, I'm calling this a W for Minnesota. You still got money. You know, you're paying the young guy his due. And who's to say that Eriksson Ek takes off, right? He takes off, and this contract is probably the steal contract of the Minnesota Wild. Who's to say he becomes a top 5 player and he's only getting paid $5 million and you have him for a whole decade almost. So who's to say? Maybe it's a W in the future.
Honestly, I've just been loving Bill Guerin and the Minnesota Wild moves as of late. I'm excited for them in the future, and they've always been one of my favorite teams. So I can't help but be happy and excited for it. Speaking of signings by the Minnesota Wild, yesterday Nick
Huge fan.
Bajustad re-signed with the Minnesota Wild for a 1-year, $900K contract. The 28-year-old recording 17 points in 44 games this season. I think he's a center, if I'm not mistaken. It's good to have depth. I think he's a good depth player, honestly.
Sure.
And 900K for, a solid guy like that, I think it's good.
900K? Call it a steal. That's another W.
The Seattle Kraken. This will be our final news before we get into some rumors. The Seattle Kraken hired Providence Bruins head coach Jay Leach. He will join Dave Hackstall's staff as assistant coach. So Marcus, he's a Providence Bruins coach, not a Boston Bruins coach. But what do you think?
I think half our coaching staff is gone. I think at this point in the offseason, half our coaching staff is gone. I forget who else we lost, but I think we lost somebody else. I mean, I don't know much about. I don't focus. I'm sorry for you crazy hockey people, but I do not know anything about. I did not look at the Providence Bruins or anything like that because I mean I was when the Bruins sucked in 2014 and 15 because that was when they were kind of relevant. But I mean, if you're looking at, I mean, like we'll see how he does. Normally, the Bruins coaches who come up from Providence are like good because you got Cassidy he came up and got us to a Stanley Cup final. But maybe Seattle knows what they're doing. They're taking everybody. They are taking everybody.
I'm fairly excited for what they're going to do.
You good?
In the expansion draft and that to come. All right. That is it for the news. Let's get into some of the juicy stuff. We got some rumors to discuss. According to Aaron Portzline, Blue Jackets GM Jarmo Kekalainen has heard just about from every single NHL GM in the league. I think that includes Seattle, regarding Seth Jones. He said, but 4 teams appear to be the front runners based on conversations with NHL club executives. The Chicago Blackhawks, as we mentioned, the Colorado Avalanche, the Los Angeles Kings, and the Philadelphia Flyers. So, I'm going to go through every team real quick, and then Marcus can discuss. Chicago, it makes sense with Duncan Keith potentially going to the Edmonton Oilers or other places. It could make sense to bring in another guy. Colorado Avalanche, if they can bring in Seth Jones, I'm not sure that'll solve their problems on the blue line, but you know what? Sure as hell doesn't hurt. The Los Angeles Kings, they obviously are in a win now mode. They want to win. So bringing in a guy like Seth Jones, I think will help their blue line. And the Flyers, they need just about any defender at this point. So yeah, I just think that, with Seth Jones, I think it can be interesting where he goes. But what do you think, Marcus, since you decided to make entrance?
I had a dream last night, actually. This is coincidental. And I saw him in a Flyers jersey.
My God.
I'm just saying, like, this is just a Desi thing. I saw him in a Flyers jersey. And I mean, I think if there's any team who could use him and his services. Now, people saying like, oh, Seth Jones isn't good. Oh, Alex Werenski's good in the Columbus Blue Jackets scheme. Oh, there's no excuse for him. Shut up. First of all, I don't care what your boxes with numbers say. Second of all, I think that I always believe in second chances because I'm a good kid. I think that second chance could be with Philadelphia. And I think that with their blue line, they could use someone like Seth Jones. I mean, I know we've all seen him. We all know he's a great defender. I mean, like this would automatically be an upgrade for the Flyers, but I don't even know what they would have to give up. I mean, maybe I don't even know. Does Columbus really think that they're gonna do something like they're gonna make an impact this year? Because I think they're middle of the pack, even though they think they're trying to go for the playoffs.
I don't think they're gonna get much. I think they're rebuilding. I don't think they're gonna get much with Seth Jones. I think all they want is picks and they want young players. So if they want Nolan Patrick, take Nolan Patrick.
Don't give up Farabee at all.
Oh no, we're not giving up Farabee. I think he's my opinion, he's one of our only players on our no touch list besides Carter Hart.
Sure.
And probably a couple other prospects. But yeah. I mean, as a Flyers fan,
you would like it?
I would be okay with it. I don't know. I haven't like. I need to analyze him. I need to know what type of D he is. Is he left or is he right? I need to look at that.
I
We
don't even know.
need more right shooting defenders. So if he's right defender, that works. He is right defender. Okay. So I wouldn't really mind him on, let's say, I wouldn't mind putting him on a pairing with let me go look at the Flyers real quick. Ivan Provorov. That could be a great roster pair up, putting him there with him. And also, if you want to just do a Seth Jones 1-for-1 for Shane Gostisbehere, I would be okay with that because Gostisbehere, as much as I love him, he needs a fresh start somewhere, and that's why I think Seattle's going to take him in the expansion draft.
I
But
think. Go. Sorry.
but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
See, Jones is 26. All right, you could use that. A guy entering his prime. All right, 5 goals, 23 assists, literally the same amount of points and assists as Charlie McAvoy, but I'm not getting into that. I mean, David Savard, you look at Savard leaving, getting traded to the Lightning. I mean, he's been pretty good for them, shot blocking everything, using his body to do what he does best. I mean, if you see Seth Jones on the blue line on the Flyers jersey, in a Flyers jersey, they're definitely. I mean, this Metropolitan Division is going to be tough to contend with. So if I'm the Flyers, I'm looking at a guy like Seth Jones, fresh start, 26 years old. I like him. I want to see him there. That's where I want to see him. So
I mean, I guess I wouldn't have a problem with it, but just the problem is, what would we have to give up? Is my biggest question. Moving on now. I said this earlier. Tyson Barrie is a one and done in Edmonton. Holland only wants to re-sign Adam Larson or Tyson Barrie, not both. It's clear that he has spoken much more frequently to Larson's agent as of late than Tyson Barrie's. So, no, I guess he's a one and done. And I want to get into this too because I've discussed this earlier. He's gonna get overpaid. Absolutely. It's
Barrie,
the only reason why he had a Norris caliber season is because he's playing with the best player in the world, Connor McDavid.
true.
I
But
just
you
think
look at
that I just think that he's going to get offered like a 5-year, like $6 million contract with some team, and he's going to suck, and now they're going to be stuck with that crappy contract.
this guy. You kidding me?
Yeah, that's what I think.
This okay. Well, I look at him and I look at kind of like an offensive defenseman. That's just me. I mean, IMO. But this season, yeah, with McDavid, he had 8 goals, 40 assists. 40 assists. That is a lot. But
Yeah,
in such a short season, I mean, with Toronto and especially with Austin Matthews, he had five goals, 34 assists. I mean, I look at this guy. I mean, he probably will get overpaid. You look at him statistically, but I mean, you got to put him in an offensive scheme for him to work because
yeah,
you look at him on paper. This guy's an offensive guy.
yeah.
So if Edmonton does look to resign, that'd be good. I think it would be good for them, but I can't really think of anywhere else the guy would want to go.
He
Or where
reminds
he
me a
could
lot
go.
of Eric Gustafson, who's with Montreal now. He signed with Philadelphia, and then he decided to become an offensive defenseman, and he sucked at it. But at least Tyson Barrie's good at it. So he reminds me a lot of Gustafson. I feel like he's just going to get overrated and overpaid, and maybe he will be good, but I just don't think that he's.
Yeah, he's kind of entering his 30s too. So, I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard much.
Going back to Nashville now, Predators GM David Poile talks expansion draft plans. Ideally, if we could strike a deal with the Seattle Kraken to determine a certain player who we lose in expansion, I'd like to do that. So maybe it
Ooh.
potentially means that someone's on their way out for Nashville. And I think that they're going to leave a lot of the guys unprotected. Like they're probably going to leave Duchesne, maybe Johansson. They're going to leave a lot of the big contract guys unprotected. Not like Ekholm or Ellis, because I think those guys have value.
Yeah.
I think they're going to leave those guys unprotected, thinking like, "Oh, we don't need to worry about it. They have high cap hit. I don't think Seattle's going to take them." Yeah,
I look at Johansson. Johansson. Listen, Ryan Johansson. I think I'm looking at him and I'm seeing like why the Predators obviously value. I mean, I would value Duchesne. I mean, like I think he's a great player, but Forsberg's on his last leg with the contract coming up in 2021, 2022. 6 million. This is his last year before the offseason. He would have to become an unrestricted free agent. And I don't think, I mean, I'm spitting here. I don't call me crazy, but if Nashville really doesn't want to, if Nashville really wants to reset the button, I think they're gonna leave Forsberg out there for Seattle to deal with. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I think so too.
I'm just spitting here. Don't come at me. But I'm just saying, if the theory here on Nordic and Marc stands that the Nashville Predators have hit the reset button, Forsberg is going to be left on that board, and Seattle can take him and take that contract and figure him out because he is a great player, but he will want cash.
Yeah, I think Duchesne could be interesting. Maybe he just needs a new fresh start potentially. And I think he may have a chance to shine if Seattle does take him. So they got to think about that. But that's it's complicated. Moving on now. We got some Colorado Avalanche stuff. The Colorado Avalanche would match any single offer sheet to Cale Makar. Pierre LeBrun also reported that some preliminary discussions have started between the Avalanche and RFA defenseman Makar, but there has yet to be anything substantial. So they're working on something, but we haven't gotten anything yet. And we've already talked about on the podcast about what we think Makar's cap hit will be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's double digits in the millions. But what do you think, Marcus? You love Cale Makar, so this should be interesting.
Well, if any team is going to try and match him, so you saying he's a restricted free agent, that means that the Avalanche can allow him to look at other offers. Is that what I'm hearing? Or that's how an RFA works, right?
Actually, I don't even think he's able to get offer sheeted. So why are they talking about saying like the Avalanche?
I think they're trying to like assert their dominance, just like, bro, if you're gonna try and get at our boy, we're gonna come right back at you. We want this guy, you know. They have 25. I'm looking at cap friendly again, people. We are using cap friendly today. 25 million cap space. All right. They could definitely afford him. But I mean,
they have other guys they gotta sign though.
True.
And we've discussed it so many times before. They got Grubauer, they got Dubnyk, they got Landeskog, Saad, Jost.
But
so much.
I mean, I want this Avalanche team to succeed. I want them to succeed. But if they're saying that, they know we all saw Makar this year. I mean, I've never seen a guy ankle break. I've never seen a hockey player ankle break nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does that in hockey. That's basketball. He did it. He figured out a way to do it. This kid's an elite, the elite of the elite talent. You better be willing to match anybody. If you think, I think he's probably going to go for like 8 million considering his age, because like you're second in Norris voting, but like at the same time you're very valuable, but at the same time you're young. So take the money, but I don't see him going to double digits. I don't know what you think, but he's not getting like McDavid $12 million. You know,
He
could.
It might be possible. I don't really know though. So that's another question for another.
You see that happening?
I do see it happening. I think he is that important to the Colorado Avalanche organization, honestly.
I think Colorado's, if I'm the GM looking at all these UFAs and stuff and the money you got a hefty amount of money for sure. But you got some guys to resign. I'm limiting it, like the offer, because I mean he's 22. If I'm a kid, I'm even thinking like 5 million is like a big contract if I'm like a good talent. But if you're giving him 8 million, I think Makar is gonna look at that. He's gonna be like, all right, sign that.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they offer him. I feel like it's gonna be 8 to 10 mil.
And probably we're gonna go like 7 years, lock him up for the rest of his life.
Yeah, or we
lock him up
out contract, because we thought Barzal would get the same amount of money or relatively around the same amount of money, but you never know.
If you take a pay cut for your team, I respect you. To make your team better, I respect the hell out of you. Go.
All right. So our next couple ones are going to be Blackhawks. We've talked about the Blackhawks a lot in this podcast. The Blackhawks have not made any progress in contract negotiations with RFA forward Brandon Hagel and are preparing for a long process. Hagel wants what he feels like he deserves. Money. Stay tuned. So Hagel, in last season with the Chicago Blackhawks, in his rookie season, he had 52 games played, 9 goals, 15 assists for 24 points. He is also a left wing, by the way, and he wants money.
Oh, I mean, he's 22. All right. I mean, like you're young, 9 goals, 15 assists, as you said, obviously. But
Chicago also has $6 million in cap space, and they have to sign Pia Sutter, David Kampf, Adam Gaudette, Nikita Zadorov, who we'll get into a bit later, Zach Smith, Alexander Nylander, and then you got the goaltenders expiring next year. It's madness.
yeah, no, this is a bad spot for the Blackhawks because you had to pay. You had to be like a championship team and pay. DeBrincat's getting $6 million. Wow.
Yeah.
$6 million.
And then he's an RFA after that. So
Jesus. Yeah, no, but still.
They
to
tried
slander the Blackhawks here. Sorry, I interrupted you. To slander the Blackhawks here, you had to pay Kane, Taze, and freaking Keith a freaking hefty amount of money. You really had to do that. But and Seabrook's, I'm not even sure if Seabrook's still in the damn team, but you're paying him 6. Like
he retired. I think he's on LTIR.
You screwed up. You screwed up. Now you got a ton of a good substantial amount of young talent. And I mean, this Hagel guy looks like he's got potential. I mean, you have no choice. Let him walk. Look at the RFAs they have. Look at the RFAs they have. You got to get Suter. You got to get Gaudette. And like David Camp. I don't know how they are, but they're still young. You have to pick and choose. You could resign them, but really, Chicago, you knew this was coming. You knew this was coming, and you're like, nope, 10 mil to Kane, 10 mil to Taze.
Yeah.
How much is Bergeron and Marchand getting paid? Combined 11 mil a year.
And that's
that.
why they're trying to trade Duncan Keith, because if they can get that 5 mil relief, that's 11 million. And speaking of Duncan Keith, we got some more Blackhawk stuff here. The Oilers, as you said earlier, are interested in trading for Blackhawks defenseman Duncan Keith. Interested in longtime Chicago Blue Liners mutual for a team source, but at the right price for under the right circumstances. So I think it could work. And I think that, Chicago wants prospects and they want draft picks because they're blowing up the team as they have announced. Yeah, I just think that I think that's what they want. They want picks.
We all know what the Blackhawks are doing. Let's move on.
All right. Finally, with the final thing for the Blackhawks, and then we'll get into 2 more news, and then we'll call it a day for the podcast. Blackhawks and Zadorov are beginning to find common ground in contract negotiations, so there's some good news. Chicago is still figuring out whether to protect him in expansion, an extension, or Keith trade could factor into it. So that's interesting. I think he's one of the underrated defenders in Chicago, to be honest with you. All right. Sure. Moving on to some, I just closed that a bit by accident. Moving on to some New York Rangers stuff. The Rangers have finalized plans to buy out the final year of Tony DeAngelo's contract. It's believed the last 5 teams contacted New York Rangers at this camp with interest before the deadline in April, though the New York Rangers were not willing to retain salary. So,
I should have had Nico for this. He knows everything. Damn it.
Yeah.
We should have called Nico for this, bro.
Well, this wasn't specifically a Rangers
offseason. Yeah. So what's the topic? Sorry, I was a little dozing.
Oh, DeAngelo with they're going to buy out DeAngelo's contract.
Okay. So all right.
No surprise there. I think we saw that coming since the incidents that occurred in January.
All right. Yeah.
And finally, Seattle Kraken CEO Todd Liebeck. What owners want is for our general manager, Ron Francis, to build a long-term winner. He has got to figure out how to do that. If that strategy involves us going to the salary cap in year 1, he has the authority to do it. So he wants to be a long-term winner and not be like the Vegas Golden Knights and make it to the Stanley Cup freaking finals in our first year and already be better than the Arizona Coyotes. So I would rather see Seattle go through the rebuild and draft the prospects and get excited for their youth that way. Besides Vegas just coming out of nowhere, having the most complete luck in the world and making it to the finals and becoming a powerhouse team afterwards. So
It's a smart move.
yeah,
It's a smart move because I mean, if they get the right guys, you know what I'm saying, in the long term, Seattle's going to be a dangerous team. And, you know, we're all going to hop on the Seattle bandwagon and we're going to be like, let's go. They did it the right way. And I love teams that do it the right way and build up from the bottom. We don't like teams like Vegas doing that. And what does Vegas have to show for it? Jack squad.
nope. All
Anything
right,
else?
I'm just looking through some final things right here to see if there's anything worth mentioning. Nope, there isn't. So that concludes episode number 5 of the Nordic And Marc podcast. Do you have anything left to say, Marcus? Staying drugs.
Wish we could have done wish this could have been episode 6 because I had a lot of rant about the why don't we just post both these episodes?
We might.
Can we do that?
I'm considering doing that.
Please, because I think the freaking award talks are still relevant in some aspect for sure.
Yeah, this will cause for a lot of editing, and then this podcast will probably be our second straight hour long. But you know, we love the long podcast, so
we love doing it.
Anyways,
ooh, coming up, baby. We gonna do that mock draft.
That's right. That is coming up. It's probably like one of the next couple podcasts. So start getting it ready, Marcus. Mine's almost ready. So
oh shoot, I gotta do some studying. Damn it. All right, well, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it.
All right. Thank you all for coming out, listening to the podcast, and we will see you all in the next podcast. Adios.